So here we are on Monday. It's a beautiful sunny day. It was minus 30 last night. It's warmed up to about minus 20. The dogs are loving it. And yeah, the cows like to come up in the mid-afternoon, catch a bit of sun kind of beside the barn here. They seem to really enjoy that, although now I've piqued their interest. They think maybe I have some grain for them. They would be wrong. So yeah, I'm just coming down here this afternoon to make sure the waters are all open, make sure everybody's doing okay. I haven't even gone to look, but I can tell you right now the sheep water is frozen because they are complaining. So I better get to that. So they did break through it a bit, but there you go. I should add some more water to that. I usually fill it up in the morning and then in the evening again. If it's a nice day, I fill up this one as well, but it freezes. This one is allegedly heated. It's really only heated till about minus 15, and then it doesn't really work anymore. But yeah, live and learn. So this is just a quick look at the feeders I make. I use a 16-foot flexible welded wire cattle panel, and I cut holes out of them, and we just wrap them around the bale. The bales we currently have takes about a panel and a third, and I just use clips to clip it all together. They're pretty good, especially for the big sheep, but some of the smaller ones, some of the last year's lambs, they can scoot right in there, and they can and do. And I'll often find one or two sheep sitting in there, and yeah, maybe farther down the line we'll be separating some last year's lambs away from the group, and it won't be such an issue, but overall we're pretty happy with them. The waste is fairly minimal. I mean, it's pretty tough to feed sheep without wasting something, but these are pretty good. Here you can see the overlap when I'm, say, a panel and a third, and then I just clip them together like that and like that, and I usually try to put the side of the bale that was sitting on the ground towards the panel because I don't have any holes cut in the connector. But then as you walk around, you can see there's a hole there, and then up, and there'll be one lower, and then one, and I stagger like that. And then the bale slowly, you set them on their ends, and the bale slowly collapses on itself, and yeah, by and large it works good. So there's the cows heading back out to their bales, and I always feed kind of in the pasture so that they spread their own manure and such around. And so the cows come to the barn for some water a couple times a day, then they head back out. And then over there's always a couple at the lick tubs getting a little bit of candy there to keep them going, especially in the cold weather with hay that's not 100% the best. The extra protein really helps them to make the most of what they got. Okay, so here we are out in the cow pasture. This is where I feed, and I just keep moving. Every time they finish a bale, I move their feeders over. So I've moved those two over yesterday, so they're empty, and next time we feed I'll put bales in each, and then they're left with kind of the stocky bits and stuff they're not thrilled about, and but that becomes a good place for them to bed down, and that's important for cows. Last year I had some old oat straw bales I would bring out here, but this year hay and straw was very hard to find, so we're kind of making do with what we got. And yeah, the dogs are always happy to come up for a little walk with me to check things out. So this is the big feeder. I usually put 3 in here, make a bit of a stack of 3, and then the cows slowly eat it down. Sometimes that one on top gets a little precarious, and I'm always a little worried about it, but we haven't had any disasters yet. And but this is the one that always gets eaten last. They prefer the single feeders before this one. But you know, they've got all day out here. They can just pull away at it. So out here is kind of it's also where we keep so these are all kind of late season bottle calves from last year. And they're just ticking along in here. That's a steer from last spring. That right there is a bred heifer. Should be due in May, I think. And that's another steer. That's a Holstein Angus cross right there. And yeah, so there's a couple of bred heifers. That red one there should be bred. And that's a good comparison for the size difference between a Holstein and an Angus. Now that red has some growing yet to do, but Holsteins are a big cow. So, right, little guys? Dogs sure do like playing out here together. Pop is our house dog. She is blind, and so she really enjoys her trips into the pasture because she remembers that there's nothing or not much in here that she can flat out run into. It's a nice big open spot, and she can run like she still has eyes. So here you can see the calves are really loving on the lick tubs. I got them the other day. Hardly a time goes by that you don't see at least one or two of them over here just going to town on these things. There's another one over there so they don't all have to crowd. And yeah, a group are following me from the feeders. So this seems to be the group of the smaller calves in here. And the bigger ones do kind of, especially when we get down to only that one bale feeder, the bigger ones kind of monopolize it. But the little ones take this opportunity to come and get some licks, and then likely they'll go up for a drink, and then by the time they come back out, the big ones will be over here for some licks, and the little ones can get out the bales a little better. So cows are pushy critters, and they only think of themselves. So now I'm in what we kind of refer to as the little calf pasture. So these are the younger bottle calves that we have, and I feed these guys out on the field as well, and they get a little bit nicer. I don't know if you can see it, but their hay is quite a bit greener than the other stuff. This is some of the few bales of this year's hay that I have, and so these guys are probably, how old are you guys now? I don't know, I'd have to check my records, but they're not very old. And they're all weaned, and so they stay out here. They are the only ones who can go back to the barn and actually go in the barn, because for these younger ones, especially when the wind picks up, it really can put a chill into them. And yeah, and they get a pail of grain still, and they'll go like that probably till spring, and then come spring, we'll end up putting everybody. We have an electric fence that we kind of go around the bush behind the house with, and they can spend the summer up in there, just eating what they like, and living the dream, calf-wise. So yeah, that's our outside animals. Okay, now we're in the barn. This is what we call either the sick pen or Lambo's pen. Lambo being that one right there, missing all the wool. She was a victim of a dog attack. In fact, 3 of the sheep in here, the one in the very back, and that tan, white, and tan one, they're all been in here since last month because the neighbor's dog was attacking our sheep, but that problem has since been solved. This one slipped on the ice and broke its leg, so it'll be in here for another, we'll take its cast off in maybe 2 weeks. And this one is a wether that we're fattening up for a friend who wants some nice fat sheep in the freezer. So yeah, they get their own hay in here, and they get some grain, and that's mineral and water, which is a little icy. I'll give them some fresh water here. And yeah, hopefully by the end of this month, we can kick at least 2 of these back out to pasture. You'll be in freezer camp, and maybe it'll just be Lambo and Lucky left in here living the barn dream. And then on the other side of the fence are the chickens. So when it's cold like this, it's always a race with the elements to get in here and pick the eggs before they freeze. So I thought I'd come out here while I was checking everybody and gather up the bounty. We also have a variety of kitties that live in the barn. Nobody misses us milking a cow more than they do because they used to get fresh milk all the time. But now they just have to get by with cat food and snow or whatever water they can find. But they're generally happy kitties. And last but not least, come check on the bottle calves. This one is much bigger than that one. We've decided to call that one Oakley because he looks like he's wearing sunglasses because he has dark eyes. And but he's a really skookum calf. He's doing really good. And that's White Line because she's got a white line down her back, and she's a little Hereford heifer. And hopefully she'll make a good cow for us one day. But she could be weaned already. But I like to wait till nice weather to wean them. I don't like to wean when it's minus 30. So it's supposed to be cold for tonight, tomorrow. But then by the end of the week, we're supposed to be back in the plus temperatures, and we'll probably wean her then and maybe punt her out into the little calf pasture with the rest of the little guys out there. And then you'll be all alone there, Oakley. But maybe we'll get another calf to keep you company. We'll see what Sarah says. She almost always says no, but I do it anyway. Haha.